Hiya folks, my name is Pravus, welcome to more Hearts of Iron 4 Old World Blues, playing as the Northern Khans in version 5.0, before it's even released, which by the way, on that topic I have been told that it is going to be coming available to the public starting on February 28th, so you don't have that long to wait. That said, if we can possibly wrap up this campaign and try another one at the same time before it gets out there, that'd be pretty cool, but let's enjoy this as much as we can. So we're playing as the Northern Khans, we are led by... I still don't know this guy's name, not really how to pronounce it. I have seen a lot of conflicting information on the internet. I try to look it up. Amgalan, Amgalan, there's a lot of people with different opinions. I'm gonna keep going with Amgalan over here because I don't really know, but Amgalan might be right. Anyway, so we are currently coring some states, which is great. We did just finish up with an event with the Ruminators over here, which is unfortunate because while I had the whole blood on the border thing, there was a focus option over here for Essen to muster some troops and go deal with the Saints. I don't know if maybe this will come back or if I have missed the boat entirely, but that was my chance to get a bit more support for the new Khanate. Oh well, technically speaking, probably more important that we get some cores. Another thing I really want is to continue working for this whole killing the mutants thing, try to make an uneasy friendship with the White Rabbit followers, whoever the heck they are. But for that I need more manpower and I need more equipment. I don't have either of those things because everything's looking terrible. All the more reason to core states, right? We'll get more manpower, more factories, and we can stop dealing with the gosh dang occupied territories which are actively eating up a lot of my equipment. One thing I did look up, by the way, so tribal technology, you know, that's a thing, right? We haven't got access to it yet, but when we have Essen in charge, we will eventually get access to all of this. And I was looking ahead, and interestingly enough, these guys get some really powerful buffs. They lose a lot in terms of industry and science, right? That is a reality. But then you get things like enforcers, which I usually would use only for the purpose of, you know, putting down rebellions. But you can get some pretty massive stat boosts on these guys. I can't say they're going to be as good as power armor. I'm just going to say once you take into a fact like this, for example, 30% more piercing for my entire army. What? Right? 15% air attack and stuff like that. Once you factor this all in, enforcers might actually be really good. It is something we are going to have to consider doing. Oh, what is this? Trouble rides on high in Wyoming as the marshals open fire on debt collectors from the Barrens Eyrie. They don't exist, so I'm not totally sure how that just happened, but alright. Now we've got some cores. We could state the last couple places, but I actually do have some manpower and stuff. I'd like to go ahead and move on to the Giant Killer Khans over here, just so we can knock this off of our lists and move on at our next available convenience, because I want to get rid of the White Rabbit War. That construction speed and factory output minus 15%, that sucks. And yeah, let's go ahead and research that crowd gear over here, because that means we'll be able to unlock the enforcers, which will eventually become useful, and sure enough, we now have some manpower and some infantry equipment to work with. Good, let's go ahead and train up a couple extra units. Not a whole lot happening right now. I mean, I say that. There's a lot of wars going on right now. People are beating the snot out of each other, but there's not a lot for me to do right now. Haven't had another pop-up event for a while either. A little unfortunate. How do we trigger the change in leadership? Because right now we have high support for the new Khanate. So things are looking pretty good for me as far as that. But I don't know when that's going to happen. For all I know, I'm going to sit here for the next 5 years or something. It says within a few years. So it could be a while, unfortunately. Which would be a problem, because most of the good stuff that I'm going to want in this particular run are going to be locked here, underneath Essen being our leader. So, yeah, gotta be patient, I guess. We could justify some war goals and just go kill people for fun. I like that. Like, what if I wanted to go spy on the Metal Mouths? Let's get a sense of how strong these guys are. Maybe we could just go and kill them. 330 days! It's a very long time to wait for a justification. Well, the mutants are gonna be dealt with, so that's all grand. What comes next? An uneasy friendship, lose stability, but get some manpower and infantry equipment back. Nice, but not a priority. Cores are better. We got the foraging for asymmetric warfare as well, so that's better HP and recovery rates, recruitable population factor, and so on. 5% more soft attack and hard attack for everything. Yeah, that's pretty good. Eyes going gray. Amgalan had been teaching Essen to read whenever the two had free time. Some days they would work out of old books borrowed from the followers. On others, Amgalan would carefully write out passages in the dirt or on old papers. Today they moved along the old pre-war roads, Essen tasked with reading the signs left behind by the people of bygone times. She was having difficulty, however, often giving up and asking the older Khan to give her a hint or outright tell her what was written. At first, Amgalan took her struggling to be the result of wear and tear on the signs, but soon he suspected something more. Finally, he asked, "Essen, how well can you see me?" She hesitated, looking away, before replying in a flat voice, "You are blurry. You always have been, but it is getting worse." It was obvious how much it pained her to admit it. It's too much praising the sun, guys! The sun is meant to be enjoyed and not looked at directly. Amgalan laid a gentle hand on her shoulder, reassuring her before saying, "I will say nothing of this to the other Khans if you wish my silence, but I strongly suggest that we ask the followers for their aid. At the least, they might be able to slow it down." Essen gritted her teeth for a moment, irritated at the idea of asking for help from anyone, but in the end, she took a deep breath and responded evenly, "Yeah, alright." I mean, yeah, how effective is a blind Khan gonna be exactly? Stop looking at the frickin' sun! And I'm not saying this necessarily out of compassion for her, okay? I just need her to be strong enough to take over so that the Northern Khans can go on a killing spree. It is in my best interest for her to keep her eyesight intact. And who even is this Regis character, by the way? We have yet to meet Regis anywhere. I don't know how the heck I'm supposed to let him get in charge. Oh, what to do next? Do we go for the uneasy friendship? I hate losing the stability. Let's go for the pilgrimage, learn a bit more about Amgalan himself, just, you know, because he might not be around forever. And then we'll have to decide if we want to continue making friends with the followers of the apocalypse. I'm kind of wondering if maybe it would have been the right way to go for our ancestors' ways. I just feel like, you know, embracing chems is not necessarily the right thing to do. But I do want to get rid of rowdy Khans, because this is kind of killing a lot of things as far as my political power, army experience, organization, recovery, stability, and so on. Yeah, that just needs to go. Also, I'm going to go ahead and start justifying over here on Highland Watch. I don't know if I need to do this exactly, but like, they're in my south, they're fighting people, it's a decent amount of territory that doesn't cause border gore. Let's just go for it. By the way, did they change some of the icons for weapons? I feel like they did. I feel like things, these SMGs and these laser weapons and so on. I mean, I don't remember there being a P90 before, and yet here we are. I think they upgraded some of the icons for the weapons and stuff. Oh, okay. That's kind of cool. Amgalan the Rebel, a new Khan by birth. Amgalan has spent over 60 years on this earth. He's looking pretty good for 60. I'm just gonna say, in an irradiated wasteland, he's doing pretty good. Though most would admit, at least outside of his tent, that he certainly doesn't look like it. See, there you go. Once he was known as the pretty boy and chose to wax poetic to all the fine ladies of the land. After all, a muscle-bound man with words like silk riding on a motorbike would seem like a once-in-a-lifetime beauty to those whose paths he crossed. But those days came riding harshly to an end when a mysterious traveler came along and murdered Diane. I'm guessing this is an event from one of the games. Again, I don't know for sure, but there you go. Amgalan did his best to help those who survived the assault, but he just couldn't do enough. Too many died that day, and yet only one thing brought him sorrow. Had they lived any other life, perhaps they'd have lived to see another day, though raiding and robbing came at such costs. But the Khans changed with time. They became less of a gang and more of a tribe, and so a spark of hope kindled in his heart. The followers were a group that he had met once before, and with their help, he thought perhaps they could start again. With luck and time, perhaps he will be proven right. The days of violence have passed. Yeah, that's not going to be true for much longer. Let's go ahead and get that cleared addictions we've been talking about before. Two sides of a very weird coin is going to be a thing for us. I like having extra defense and recovery rate, but I mostly like getting rid of the rowdy Khans. Settle down! Not like literally, don't follow Amgalan at the end of the day, but settle down! Alright, so we finish up with the Asymmetric Warfare. Oh, I forgot that Outsider Warfare was a thing over here. It doesn't matter, I'm not a mutant. Anyway, Ancient Tactics or Wasteland Tactics. Oh my. Locals get all these bonuses? What is that supposed to mean by locals? Are we talking like literally the garrisons? Enforcer boosts sound tempting, actually, though. Hold on. 20% breakthrough! Good lord! Yeah, some of these are actually really good. Oh, gosh. Honestly, a lot of this stuff with the Legion is clearly meant for, like, Lanius's cohort or something, but man, a lot of these are really pretty good. They are army-wide buffs on so many things. But if we really want to try maxing out our Enforcers just to see what I can do with them, kinda tempted to say this might be the way to go. It might be a little bit of a handicap, but I've never done it. Let's try. Let's just go ahead and finish it with this uneasy friendship. We might as well be done with it. Get those white rabbit people to serve me. Oh wow, all of a sudden, Farson, who's been losing this war until the exact moment that I've been trying to get a goal on these guys, all of a sudden they encircled and they killed a bunch, and now they're making a push. Even if I get into this war, I'm not going to get to take anything anymore, am I? Gosh dang it, I hate when this happens. Well, we've dealt with the rabbit people. I was kind of expecting an event at the end of this, to be honest. Anything that kind of gave, like, Essen, like, some really big bonus, like, yeah, Essen actually successfully got these people on our side. Now she has a faction. But no. No, that did not happen. Alright, well, tell you what, let's go ahead and boost up our war support with the Khan's warriors. More war support's only a good thing, right? Then we can use that to start working toward weaponsmiths, which are just going to make my equipment a little bit better. I wonder if at any point they plan on adding in, like, the, what is it called now in the base game? Like, companies where you can actually modify your equipment. I wonder if that's going to end up being a thing at some points in Old World Blues. I feel like they'd be remiss not to, but I'm also not totally sure how you do it, because they already have, like, all these major businesses. So how would you make that work exactly? I don't know, but I'd be curious. Oh my gosh, I am 19 days away from finishing my war goal. And they just lost their capital. Oh, you guys freaking had better hold on. Gosh! Ah! Okay. Okay. Rage. Rage, rage, rage. That's it. We're justifying on YouTube. 160 more days. So close. There's absolutely nothing happening right now. Trying to work down all of these, because I might as well. Can't go down anything over here. We would have to go for things like the Ranger Way and so on first. Army of Raiders could be fun. Way of the Lands, need to research horses, or we need to have the salvage motorcycles, which are down over here somewhere, I think. So that's a thing. Can't do anything more over here. We can learn lessons of Diane. There's the Ranger Way. That's a thing. When do I get to choose a ruler? Well, at least I can craft my own fun and go to war now. It says my general's not feeling confident about this at all. Hopefully I'm a bit more confident than they think I am. Oh, there's a river crossing. Well, that'll do a big part of it. I didn't even see that, with my borders being where it is. All right, well, let's see if we can just kind of get ourselves something. The Reclamation Authority. Oh, right, I did that just so I could do some scavenging because I was bored. Cool, so how strong are these guys really? Wow, that's a lot of defense. The Farson Mole Miners? That's what they are? They're mole people? Well, no wonder I'm not feeling confident. Look, I'll win this eventually, and honestly, with my enforcers kind of at the front with some armor, they should be able to withstand and not take a lot of hits themselves. But this is going to be slow chipping. My only hope here is to actually make very good use of encirclements, otherwise wearing these guys down is going to take forever. And the battle for the Hoover Dam apparently has begun. The Mojave Brotherhood is under attack. Right. Yeah, that's how far we've gotten into this mod so far. We've gotten to the Hoover Dam era. And I'm only in my second little war, and that's just because I really wanted to go kill people. Whatever, these guys may be tough, but they're not tough enough. Perfect. All right, go for the encirclement. Go, go, go. All right, tell you what, they're not letting me get in here easily, but I can at least split their forces like this. I'll need to make sure I get in here and prevent them from splitting me off, but if I can just press in their core territory, which I know is all over here, who cares about this? This is pointless. Now, I'm kind of curious what this is here. Never Another Bitter Springs. Add technology, intermediate infantry tech. Yeah, that's good. We will combine our unique ideas into one, making an even stronger one. What are we talking about as far as combining our unique ideas into one? What is that? Like, is that something where I really should be waiting until I picked up a couple other things and somehow that merges them? I've got no idea. So, now what? Seriously, now what? I guess I have to go down these routes. Sure, moving into Ralston. There we go. Farson is down. We got a whole load of mole rat mutants on our side. Yeah, sure, okay. And also, they had a small navy. Cool, I'll take all of it. All right, so this is all mine. Now we actually can make use of some of our manpower and equipment to actually try to occupy some more territory. That's good. Then what? Go kill maybe the Metal Mouths? Sure, they're fighting two people. They're probably distracted enough. Oh, great, now someone else is attacking the Metal Mouths. It's the Cult of Liberty. Yeah. Everyone wants to take on whoever I've said I want to kill. No one lets me have nice things. What is this? Without a Khan. While the northern Khans had faced many of their own troubles, theirs paled in comparison to what Papa Khan's band of great Khans had now gone through. The wind blew into Lavelle from the south that morning, bringing with it the heat and tinge perhaps of blood in the air. Something had happened. Bitter spring. Okay, hold on. Finally, something's happening. While Amgalan, Essen, and the other Khans in the north were putting down roots and considering how to move into the future, far to the south, disaster was brewing. The great Khans of the Mojave Wasteland, having already been pushed out of Vegas into the hinterlands, now faced violent displacement once more. Incensed by one too many raids against their holdings and traders, local forces in the Mojave mobilized a full-scale attack on the Khans' home in the Bitter Springs. The attack came at a time when Papa Khan himself was away leading a raiding party, and those who remained steeled themselves for a last effort at breaking out, or at least providing an escape for their non-combatants. The attempt would have sent them straight into a kill zone, if not for the timely return of Papa and his men coming home earlier than expected. Papa Khan and his warriors struck the enemy rearguard with a furious assault, cutting down many of the attackers and drawing away troops from the front of the battle. It would not be enough. There were far too many soldiers amassed by the enemy for the Khan to have any hope of routing, but the chaos gave those who remained in Bitter Springs a chance to push out all at once and break through the line. It was Regis. Finally! We hear about Regis! Okay, I feel like we're getting one step closer now. Having been left behind in Bitter Springs that day as Papa's right hand, who led the breakout and then lingered behind as his people fled. He saw Papa fall that day, cut down by the concentrated fire of a dozen or more attackers, and the image never left his mind. Once he could wait no more, he turned his own back and ran to catch up with the others. So where is Bitter Springs? There it is, over here. Boom, bye, hello. Yes, the Kaisar's Legion has taken it over. There we go, all right. So, yes, I was correct. This is from New Vegas. It's been a very long time since I've had to worry about any of that, so okay, cool. That probably means they're fleeing up here to the north. And when they do, I expect a crisis of leadership. And now we can go to war against the Metal Mouths. They're kind of doing pretty well on their own, to be honest. I almost wonder if I should let them try to conquer some more territory. I'm gonna have to share a lot of war score. At the same time, why sit around? Let's just kill him. Go, go, go. Stupid little cyborg wannabe Steel Joe. Getting attacked on all sides. And what is this? Another home lost. With Papa Khan lost, it fell to Regis to decide the Great Khan's course. With enemies on all sides, a number of non-combatants and wounded to care for, he made the heavy decision to leave the Mojave Wasteland. Revenge and lust for it weighed too heavily on some of the Great Khans, and a few chose to seek their fortune on their own, prompting another parting of the ways. Regis, for his part, however, knew that seeking vengeance would be the death of them all, and discarded the idea. Remembering old stories from Papa mentioning a group of new Khans who had struck out on their own long ago after the fall of Darien, the Great Khans headed north in hopes of finding their long-lost cousins. They could think of no better course, with both west or east growing more and more dangerous. The journey was a tough one, while the travelers forced to dig up long-stale rumors and scrabble for supplies the whole way. Not a few times were they forced to fight as well, as the wasteland and its often hostile inhabitants took its toll on them, but by the end, Regis felt tired, proud, or fed up. I'm gonna go with fed up. I think there's only one more victory point for me to take over here. Harlow Town, there we go, finished with them, and sure enough, I did not have the lion's share of the war score. Fortunately, the Cult of Liberty got nothing. Neither did the Montana Brotherhood, so we at least get some of the good stuff. There we go, I'll take these 4 states along here. I think that's all I can really ask for, so say goodbye from there. All right, 4 states each. I call that a pretty good trade considering. And that leaves the freaky smiley people. I don't like the freaky smiley people. We're gonna kill them. And actually this works out really well because now I have a proper border to use against them. Before we had this tiny little valley, which would have been death for everyone involved. A fortunate reunion. Amgalan and Essen, along with a number of warriors, made their way to the border. Scouts had reported a large group, many armed, approaching Khan territory. The scouts had kept their distance on Amgalan's orders, instructed to stay as far away as possible while still keeping the travelers in sight. The old chief had an odd feeling about it, feeling strangely excited. The rest of his people were ready for a fight, and were already taking up defensive positions if it came down to it, but Amgalan had every intention of asking questions first. He biked up onto an old ridge overlooking making the trail, Essen clinging behind, and waited for the new arrivals to approach. They were wary as they came, walking slowly but openly, clearly aware that some kind of welcoming party had awaited them, but it was a large group of people, including adults and children alike, most wearing various leathers and scavenged clothing and many carrying weapons. They kept their arms out of their sides and backs, however, a detail that Amgalan did not fail to notice. Once they were within earshot, Amgalan called out, "Who are you, so many walking into the land of the Khans?" The response was an unexpected one. "We are the Khans." 3 days later, Regis sat by the fire with Melissa, Jack, and Diane. Some of the people... Jack and Diane? Isn't there a song about that? Let me tell you about Jack and Diane, two American kids in the heartland, or something like that. What is that song? Something like, whatever, anyway. Some of the people he trusted the most after the long exodus north. They'd actually managed to find their long-lost cousins, and they'd been quick to welcome the great Khans of the Mojave, after an initial period of intense and surprised questioning. Many of the northern Khans had seemed impressed at the tales of their southern counterparts, and happy for the sudden reunion, though Regis wasn't sure what to make of it. The conversation inevitably turned towards their hosts. "That Amgali guy seems nice," Jack offered, his arm draped around Diane as they passed back and forth a cigarette. I'm sorry, Jack and Diane, I am telling you, there's a thing here. I'm trying to remember it. It's like, oh yeah, life goes on. There's that song, whatever that is. I don't remember what it's called, but I swear to God, this is intentional. "A bit too nice," both Melissa and Diane countered, almost in unison. "He still looked pretty buff. Bet he could chuck me pretty far. Bet his Essen lady could too." Jack shrugged. "I do like her," Melissa said, smirking as she watched the fire dance. "Hey, Regis, you know I got the idea a lot of these guys want a new boss. Why not you?" Regis didn't answer right away, considering her words. It was true that some of the Khans they'd met seemed to have a little love for their soft-spoken chief. That didn't mean he necessarily wanted to be chief himself. Finally, he just broke the quiet with a simple maybe. Alright, we get 413 manpower out of the arrangement. Also, we get Jack and Diane. What'll be hilarious is if it turns out I'm completely wrong on that and people are like, yeah, it's actually Jack and Luis or something. It's not. I know it's not. But the point is, if I'm misremembering, I know that I'm going to get crucified in the comment section. That's how YouTube goes. And it's fine. But I'm pretty sure. Nope, I'm right. There we go. Jack and Diane by John Mellencamp. Haha, got it. Just frustrations. Philea stormed into Amgalan's tent unprompted. The frick do they mean when they call themselves the Great Khans, huh? Seems like they're just a bunch of Man, she's crass. She threw her hands up, grunting angrily. They don't listen to us. They chug booze like it's a damn sport and make the entire camp smell like a lab. What are we gonna do about them, Amgalan? He shrugged with faint agreement. We must earn their respect. They don't fully understand that we're their family yet. Her eye twitched. We gave them somewhere to go. Isn't that enough? Now they're up here, running our crap into the ground, and we're supposed to just accept that? Hearing what they've been through, I don't think I blame them. Amgalan rested his chin on his hand. We all get restless in times of strife. Not anymore. I got rid of the rowdy Khans. We're not restless. We just have to be here for them and guide their hand. But this isn't just restlessness. They're reckless. It's self-destructive. They want blood, and I don't think they're going to stop until they get it. Many of us do. Just look at Essen, or even myself, Amgalan said, watching her expression turn to one of surprise. It's human nature to crave vengeance, really. When I was younger, I hunted the man who killed my mother, an NCR ranger, and I cut his throat out with her knife. I thought I'd feel better for it, or tougher, if you can believe it. I've never felt as powerless and lonely as when I watched him bleed out. Revenge, anger, they both divorce the mind from the body. They take your character and they make you into a shell. I won't let them go through that. It took Philea a moment to gather herself. Then you know this is bad, Amgalan. This is the whole set of new Khans who haven't changed like we have. I know that, he sighed, placing his hand on her shoulder. Regis and his people are good. If they weren't, I wouldn't have let them come here. He softened his gaze, hushing his words. We can understand them, be there for them, without agreeing with them. She took a deeper breath, eyeing him with concern. I just want you to think about it, okay? He nodded, and she left him to his thoughts. Steady she goes. Oh, it's coming to a head, folks. Y'all know it. Montana Brotherhood has decided to attack the Coal Consortium. You know, I actually wouldn't mind giving these guys a go. They have a weird flag for a Brotherhood, but they could be kind of fun to play. I believe they got a big rework as well. I was specifically asked not to mess with that this time around before it's arrived here on February 28th, so that's why I haven't. But in the future, I am open to that. This is interesting, by the way. We can get more defense and piercing and so on, but we lose a load of max entrenchment. Which means even with the extra defense, holding our ground is still going to be a little bit tougher. Melissa opened fire, her spray of bullets shredding the wings of an oncoming blood bug and sending it crashing to the grass. She finished it with a boot to the head, while to the flank, Essen swung her axe in a wide stroke that split the head of another of the monstrous insects. The noise roused the rest of the nest they had volunteered to clear out, and they were soon embroiled in a short but fierce battle, with each watching the other's backs. They had journeyed out into the wilds together, chasing stories of an insect nest that had grown out of hand and started attacking hunters in the area and getting to know each other along the trail. Each found they enjoyed the other's confidence and company, and the trip had felt like light work. It was Melissa who eventually found the nest itself and counted the monsters, and both agreed to tackle it head-on without delay. When it was over, both were unscathed and surrounded by bloodbug corpses, each regarding the other handiwork with respect. Their teamwork had been easy and natural, with Melissa calling out targets and Essen intercepting any that threatened to pass through gunfire. "No more blood for these bugs," Essen dryly remarked as she wiped her blade clean. The other woman laughed at the unexpected joke and slapped her on the back good-naturedly. "We should do this again. War support goes up." Interesting. All right, well, they're starting to develop a budding friendship, maybe more, who even knows in the future. But the point be, yeah, we probably can expect her support when I eventually take over, and I'll bet you that gets Regis in line. Alright, I can go down this tree over here, or I can circle back and try to work toward things like the Ranger Con doctrines and so on. I might as well try to work toward that land doctrine bonus. I'm almost done with my land doctrine, so we might as well take advantage of that now before it's too late. I do like that the support for the new Conet is massive. If there's gonna be a civil war, I know my side's gonna win. Here we go. Ever since arriving in Wyoming, the Khans under Amgalan have suffered from something of an identity crisis. This has only been put into sharper relief by the arrival of Regis and the great Khans of the Mojave. It has fallen to Amgalan to call together the Khans' greatest and most influential members to discuss what comes next and how to move forward. There are those who believe in Amgalan's vision of settling down in peace alongside the followers of the apocalypse, folks tired of blood and going it alone, who wish for comfort and stability. They would see Amgalan's role not just preserved, but expanded, so his authority is unquestioned. Some have drawn to Essen, captivated by her talk of guarding against further disasters through overwhelming strength and impressed by her conviction. These followers wish for a return to glory and even revenge against a harsh wasteland. They'd see her raised to the top and speak of the kind of Conet old Diane would only have dreamed of. But there are others who wish for no great changes at all. They want to raid, live, and continue on as the Khans always have. The great Khans, and particularly Regis, have become examples for these traditionalists to rally around, and they hold that it may be some time to give Regis a greater position of honor amongst the Khans as a man who is worthy of leadership. At the end of a night of a long meeting, it was decided the Khans wanted glory. All right, I think right here, we would have two other buttons available, but because only one of my political parties has enough support, we become the new Conet. There we go. All right, so they rule. Boom. Done. And actually, there's who turned our eyes skyward, and we are the true Khans. Woohoo! Also, good lord, can I say that Essen is buff as frick? Look at those abs. She is aggressively simple, which means lots of manpower, focus on offense, and enough caps income to hopefully support a lot of extra troops. Okay. But this means I finally have options to go down this route over here. We can do a whole bunch of things. We can form a faction, we can research horsemen, I can start getting tribal tech. Okay. This opens up the options I was looking for. Not to mention, we can declare Essen the Khan of Khans to get a lot of other benefits, and some of these are great. Then an age of prosperity, paid in kind, and so on. We've survived the early game. I'd go so far as to say we've thrived. Now it's time to make all of Wyoming, and frankly, as far from the freaking wastelands to the sea, everyone shall know that the Khans are ready to rise. Thank you all very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If so, I would ask you to hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.